on to our next session, which is called Point of View, Leveraging the Combined Power of Cloud, Data and AI Platform, Charter for the GCC Success. And for that, I'd like to invite Damian Jordan, Senior Vice President, Hexaware Technologies. Damian is an accomplished technology and transformation leader with more than 2 decades of experience driving IT strategy, digital transformation, and large-scale delivery across the insurance and healthcare sectors. Currently serves as the Senior Vice President, Healthcare and Insurance at Hexaware Technologies, where he leads global transformation initiatives, client engagement, and delivery excellence. It's over to you, Damian.
Lights are bright. Namaste, hello, and thanks for attending this session. This session is all about how, when we envision the future of GCCs, what are the key kind of technologies that are going to play in to enabling that future? And we're going to focus in on cloud, data, and AI. My name's Damian Jordan. I work for Hexaware. I've been with Hexaware for about 5 years. I've been in the industry for 35 years, thereabouts. And for 25 of those 35 years, I've worked with Indian delivery centres. About 50-50 career split between service provider and customer. So good experience all round, and some very long and good experience of working with the Indian delivery centres. So just some stats to begin with, really. I think by 2030, we're going to see a step change, and obviously, you know, that there's a journey to go on to get to that step change. But a step change in the role of GCCs across the enterprise, redefining the impact that they have on innovation and transformation, productivity and strategic leadership. We're going to see 25% increase in GCCs overall. We're going to see a 50% increase in staffing within those GCCs. But doubling of kind of output and GVA. And I think that whilst those figures might seem disproportionate, I think they're kind of underpinning the fact that the value of GCCs of the future is going to be significantly more, right? There'll be more complex work moving to GCCs, more functions will move into GCCs. So my view is that GCCs are going to become the innovation and transformation hubs for the enterprises that they serve. So a quick bit of audience participation. Who thinks the first statement is true? So that GCCs will continue to deliver value for money? Raise your hands if you think one is true. Some people, yep. Who thinks the second is true? So GCCs really, they're going to start defining the future of the enterprise transformation. They're going to be those kind of innovation hubs. Hands up for option 2. Many more for option 2. Who thinks both are true? Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So, I've certainly seen a lot of ambition in everybody really at this event, with the sessions that I've attended so far, which is great. But how do we kind of unleash that ambition, and how do we enable the GCC of the future? Or GCC 2.0 as we're referring to it within Hexaware. So I think there are some key enablers, and those enablers are going to be cloud, data and AI, which is obviously why we're here discussing those topics today. And those 3 enablers are really going to enable that kind of next-gen, that set of next-gen IT services across change, run, business process, the lot. I think they're certainly going to enable transformation, and transformation from kind of legacy transformation, digital customization of user experiences, etc., etc. Transformation is going to be huge, and it's only getting faster. But whilst all the time focusing on the kind of cost-effective scalability and the ability to rapidly respond to changing and evolving business strategy. the GCC leaders that are here, your GCCs will be at different stages on this journey. Some of you will be way down it, some of you will just be beginning. But I think, you know, these are going to be the strategic enablers for that journey. So, moving on, we'll kind of double down on cloud to begin with and get to data and AI next. So, cloud, it really provides an enabling foundation for the GCCs of the future, I think. There's still a lot of legacy in the world. It never ceases to amaze me how much there is. In fact, you know, we were talking to a customer the other day. He runs a GCC in Bangalore. And that GCC is the kind of the data center and cloud hub, if you like, for the various geographies that he serves across the enterprise organisation that the GCC is there for. Every year he has to embark on a infrastructure upgrade program, keeping things up to date, keeping things fresh. His ambition is to get everything else to the cloud, but you've got this kind of contention really between what he wants to do and what the application owners want to do, because there's a whole bunch of applications out there that actually can't move to the cloud. So there's a lot of legacy out there still, and actually he's asked us to help him kind of sit down and come up with a legacy transformation program so that actually we can start to migrate those applications to contemporary technology and get them to the cloud. But it's just a good example, I think, of where sometimes, you know, what's happening in a GCC can feel a bit detached from the customer in this situation with the application customers that he's serving. If you're not using cloud, then really kind of losing out on the cost-effective scalability and dynamic resource provision, of course. So really, if you can start to embrace cloud more, then great, go for it. But there are some things to watch out for, right? So FinOps is a key thing to make sure that you've got in place. Without that, costs can spiral out of control, and actually it kind of has a negative financial impact on what you have previously. Legacy integration, I touched on that, but you've got to think about, you've got to plan out that migration to cloud and make sure that everything's still going to connect with each other and talk to each other and still work. Security and compliance, of course, big consideration. You've got to think about where you're going to actually host in the cloud. Make sure that you're aligned to regulation and governance and kind of govern that tightly. But also talent gaps, so make sure you've got good cloud architects and make sure you've got good FinOps people in the team to kind of keep you on the straight and narrow. Okay. So data. I saw a strapline the other day, is data the new oil? Could be. It certainly fuels AI and intelligent operations, I think. And really, you can look at data through a couple of lenses. There are benefits and use cases for operations. Real-time monitoring of data can prevent outages, reduce recovery times, driving down the cost of operations, and reducing overall kind of business impact of outages and whatnot. But the other lens really is around the analytics and using data to enable analytics and generate insights that inform business decision making. I think GCCs really have got the opportunity to create very strong data analytics and data science hubs that really start to get underneath the data and generate strategic insights for the business and enable then the market-leading decision making across the enterprise. Again, there are some things to watch out for. So data can be very fragmented and in silos. You need a strategy. You've got to work through the privacy and regulation constraints that you need to align to and with, and data literacy. You've got to make sure that you employ the right people, the scientists, the analysts, and that people in the broader business are able to act on the insights that the analytics gives. And tool sprawl. So sometimes what I've seen is that outside of IT, in the business, if you like, they go to market, buy a tool, and you have this proliferation of tools across the estate which can actually make it quite hard. So in the data strategy that you have, be very clear on the tooling that the enterprise should be using. And to AI. So I think AI really is going to be the engine of transformation. It's not a case of if and when, it's a case of now and how. I think organisations are spinning a bit with AI. Not many, I think, have a clear strategy. Certainly heard of customers or organisations having implemented Copilot and kind of thinking that they've done Gen AI. That's what they needed to do. There's no clear strategy, there were no clear guardrails, which can be quite problematic. If it's not done well, then what should be confidential in an organisation and off the record can suddenly become on the record and freely available under data subject access requests. So be careful. You've got to embrace it, but you've got to do it properly and you've got to do it well. And actually, we as Hexaware, we're just involved now with one of our customers, kind of going almost back to day one and helping them define their AI strategy and identify use cases across the business to be taken to the board to get funding, and then we'll effectively create the production engine to work through those use cases and get them implemented. But again, some things to watch out for. So governance and ethics, if you're not careful, the use of AI can start to reinforce what you don't want it to reinforce. So HR, I think, is a good kind of example of that. If you're not careful, if you've got an imbalance in recruitment, or you've not got the diversity that you want, but you're plugging machine learning into that, then it can start to actually exacerbate problems. So you've got to be very mindful and plan that out well. Data quality and availability. The output from Gen AI is only really as good as the data quality, etc., that you put into it. So be careful of that. And hype versus kind of real impact. I think some organisations, from a technology angle, are very keen to get going with it and are kind of doing things for their own benefit, which is good. I think really the power comes from really joining up technology and kind of the business to identify some business improving use cases and working collaboratively to kind of tease those out and exploit them. I'll give you one good example. So a healthcare provider, we were working through some potential use cases with them. This healthcare provider, one of its offerings is an annual health assessment. So one of the ideas is actually you could take the output from an annual health assessment, and then you could generate a very tailored kind of get fit, get well program, addressing all the kind of negative points that came out of that kind of health assessment. So there's plenty of use cases out there if they just need thinking through, and I wouldn't do it. My recommendation is to not do it as a technology silo. So when we bring the power of those three things together, they're effectively greater, I think, than the sum of their parts. And GCCs can be at the forefront of exploiting the technology and drive that enterprise value by being faster to market, faster to benefit realisation, more efficient. Gen AI really should be on everyone's mind, and everyone should be benefiting from it. And I think it's still very new and confusing for some people in reality, not just technology people, not just business people, but everybody. And I think driving that culture of just using AI in everyday life is valuable. But as the efficiencies from those start to play out, then repurposing talent to focus on AI and tease out those innovative use cases, and creating the scalable, agile operation that can really respond quickly to business demands and change your business strategies. And then ultimately, through modernisation, etc., you can reduce reliance on legacy skills. really then enabling a kind of future-proofed workforce, which is really good. So if you were working with Hexaware, then we'd kind of get going with you. How do you start? Well, we would create a charter, and at a high level it might look something like this. So our recommendation would be to start with the security and compliance. Make sure the strategy is right there, make sure the guardrails are right, make sure you're aligning with regulation, and you might be subject to various regulations around the globe. And from there you'd build out strategies for data, AI and cloud. You may have them already. If you haven't, then we would certainly look at doing those. Be cloud first if you can. I think the benefits are clear. But just be mindful really of it can take time, right? You've got to go through that legacy transformation to enable some of that stuff. But there are workarounds for some of those bits and pieces as well now that can be exploited. Try and drive a data-driven culture. Build the skills, build the teams, build the connections between the analysts, the scientists, and the business decision makers to really get the benefit out of that. AI, build the capabilities, but also partner well. I think it's unrealistic to expect everybody to be able to do everything themselves. There are good partners out in the marketplace. We're certainly one of them. Engage partners to help you drive that forward, and really kind of think about how you can lead the transformation of the broader business. And then foster collaboration. So I think this is really, really important, and it's quite interesting when you think about the kind of geographical spread of people these days. If I go back in my career many, many years, not even this millennium, I was part of a team that worked for a life and pensions and investment company that was a spin-off from a building society in England. There were 2 floors of people in an admin centre. You had policy admin, underwriting, customer services, etc. And in the middle of that group was me and my team, and we were the application development team, really driving quite leading-edge application transformation at the time. But we were really immersed in what was going on in the business operation. We understood what the business was all about. We could see people using the applications we were building day in, day out. And actually, we were kind of putting stuff out to that user base every week. And this was, kind of very late 90s. So even today, it kind of doesn't matter where people are. Even if everyone's in the UK, for instance, or everyone's in India, IT can still find itself being a bit of a silo. And so my advice is that really try and break that down, embed people into the business, get those technologists really understanding what the business is doing, the constraints of the business, the issues they're seeing day in, day out with what it is you're building and deploying. And you can really start to make a difference to that kind of business, really. And then there are a few things that you could measure. These would be customised as we work with you, but you could certainly focus around operational efficiency, the kind of quick, try and fail quick, try and succeed quick around innovation. Obviously underpinning a set of business outcomes, and ideally, particularly in a regulated environment where you start to kind of drill down and reduce technical debt and operational risk through transformation. So what do we bring then? So this new partnership, this acquisition that Hexaware has made of SMC Squared, those that were in the panel discussion yesterday would have heard Anant talk a little bit about SMC Squared. Well, we are, SMC Squared really is kind of founded in greenfield GCC setups. Hexaware, on the other hand, typically was not. We service a lot of GCCs that are already established. We obviously provide outsourcing capability. But we are a platform-led organisation, right? So we have a lot of AI plugged into platforms around operations, transformation, etc., etc. So now we have the combination of these things. What we can do is when we're setting up greenfield GCCs, we can drive all that efficiency in at the point of setting GCCs up. So way more efficient from day one than previously. But also where we're working with people like yourselves, we're able to bring in thought leadership and technology to really accelerate transformation. And we're kind of badging that combination as GCC 2.0 or 2.0. And that's what we're kind of seeing out in the marketplace now, which I think is unique. I think it's quite compelling, and it's certainly very exciting. The combination then, I mean, we've got over 30 years experience, 35 I think actually. We've created and built over 30 greenfield GCCs. Within those greenfield GCCs, which are typically a 3-year build, operate, transfer, we've seen 100% of targeted people, agreed kind of roles, move across to the parent company at the end of the 3 years, which is really good. And through the kind of ongoing connection, we've then seen those GCCs grow another 250% on average, which is tremendous. And then from the kind of AI angle, 99% of our workforce is trained in AI. That workforce is out there building AI agents for our customers. It's also building AI into our platform accelerators as well. So I think that's our unique advantage in the marketplace. So how can we help at a more detailed level? Well, we'll effectively use that combined experience to consult, strategize, and implement your location and kind of talent strategy, creating your GCC. Build, operate, and transfer, and provide all the kind of supporting peripheral services, HR, payroll, etc. We'll bring the right talent at the right time. Certainly for greenfield GCCs, we tend to recruit to fit rather than draw from the bench. For new and existing GCCs, we can help you optimize your processes, help you on your transformation strategy, create centres of excellence, help with organisational change management, help with data, cloud, and AI transformation. We've covered that in this topic today. But we can also help in adding additional functions into your existing GCC. And then if it comes to it, we can even help with M&As and exits should the need arise. So fundamentally, we can be with you in your entire GCC journey, really, from initial thought all the way through to kind of optimization, run, transformation, etc. So I just wanted to leave you with a case study. This was a greenfield GCC set up by SMC Squared. It was a build, operate, transfer engagement for a US life sciences firm, which initially covered 24 capabilities. And the requirement was to build a GCC in Bangalore. Initially, 200 roles to be filled in the first year, which was completed with 90% retention, which is good. SMC Squared run at about 96 to 98 retention on average. That then scaled to 400 people over 3 years. Transition was executed using our kind of low-risk transition methodology and went very well. We provided a full suite of supporting services, and all 400 people transitioned at the end of the 3-year BOT. Ultimately delivering 40 million in savings and hitting a blended rate of $17.68 an hour, which is really good. And then, like I said earlier, we don't just kind of pack up our tents and go home at the end of the BOT. We kind of maintain that connection, and through that maintained connection and support, that GCC is now running at over 1,000 people. So it's a great success story, really, and there are plenty of those across the organisation that we can share. In fact, if you come and visit our booth, we can go through them. So that's it, really. If you'd like to come and see us, we've got the booth at the back. It would be great to see you. Pop by. You've all got a notepad, I see now, on the desks, which is great. If you want more information via electronic means, then you can contact us at marketing@hexaware.com. At 3 o'clock, I'm part of track 3. If you want to hear less of me, then go to track 1 or 2, but I'll be at track 3. Thank you very much for your time.
Moment, please. Yeah. So that was Damian Jordan, Senior Vice President, Hexaware Technologies, with his point of view, leveraging the combined power of cloud, data, and AI platform. We'd like to give you a small memento by way of remembrance. I'd like to request Mr. Anand Maheshwari, Founder, Director, and Chief Commercial Officer, Quintus Global, to please come and do the honors of giving a memento to Damian Jordan.